Frank Oliveira, Citizens for California High-Speed Rail Accountability. Since the project's 2012 business plan, 4 years have passed, and the authority has steadfastly proclaimed to the legislature, local governments, and the media, as well as the public, that they were building the initial operating section south, Merced to LA. The authority assured everyone that building the iOS South first was both financially and technically possible and absolutely critical to connect the Central Valley to Los Angeles and bridge the passenger rail gap between northern and southern regions of the state. Based on this premise, the authority justified their actions before you, the legislature, media, public, and dozens of times to secure funding through cap and trade. Just a year ago, the authority orchestrated a celebration in Fresno where they declared that the construction of the high-speed rail system between Merced and LA had begun. Passionate speeches were delivered. Some of you were there and applauded when the iOS South was declared to be transformative and to the state and the public. So what happened? You and I were misled. No matter how much cap and trade money is channeled into this greenhouse gas generating project, it will not be enough for the project to survive. Cap and trade funding is supposed to be used to reduce greenhouse gas by 2020, not create more greenhouse gas and pollution for decades to come, as this project will do. The reality is in 2020, you will be solicited to extend cap and trade laws indefinitely so that the gross polluter can be funded for decades to come on assurances by the authority that this will be a green project maybe someday. The draft business plan relies on you executing the legislative action that will deprive worthy projects of needed funding that will actually affect the climate in a positive manner. Without this legislation, the project does not work. Assuming that you, the legislature, do propel the future legislation that provides the authority with more cap and trade funding indefinitely, the project still never connects San Francisco to LA, which is phase one, because of its lack of financial viability or funding identified in the draft business plan. There is no financial plan identified to extend the project from that north of Shafter to reach LA. For 8 years, phase one has been the project mission. It is also the primary mission reflected in Proposition 1A and AB 3034. The draft business plan does not provide a realistic path forward. The draft business plan also omits the cost of the project for the entire 800-mile project. The authority is required by law to forecast the cost of Phase 2, the 800-mile project, in its business plan, but never has, and it will not until you demand that they do so. So I ask you, does the authority have to comply with the law? We've heard today, and I've heard in a Senate Transportation Committee and an Assembly Transportation Committee, the chairman of the High-Speed Rail Authority say that they don't have enough money to build phase one, that it will come from somewhere. If he says that they don't know where the money will come from, maybe you should pay attention. There is no source of more money. The authority does not have the financial ability to build anything beyond 100 miles or so. There is not enough money available to put a functional high-speed train on what they are building. There are no ridership studies that we are aware of that have been done on the demand of travel between San Jose and Shafter. The authority has recklessly entered into billion-dollar construction contracts already, despite not even knowing what direction the project was going. The authority does not have a planning process with technical capacity to properly assess the technical issues involved with mountain crossings and other complicated issues. At the end of the day, the construction contracts were signed and the construction started. The authority is now changing the entire direction of the project because of cost and complications. Clearly, the authority in 2012 and 2014 business plans misled us all. Not to worry, the authority has things handled. Remember, the authority was sitting in front of your subcommittee defending doing the iOS South as the right priority a mere 2 months ago, and the mountains were very doable back then. I guess they were misleading you and I on that day. I have 5 documents to submit to you which have more detail. Failing to properly oversee the high-speed rail authority will not make problems go away, lead to a successful high-speed rail system being built. Continuing to pour public dollars into an authority that has misled all of us will not lead to a successful project. Unfortunately, only changing the authority's management team and the board that oversees the project will change its culture of deceit, waste, and mismanagement and lead to a successful project someday. Do something about it. Everybody in the state is waiting for you to act. Do you have the courage to do the right thing today? If you have any questions, I'm willing to communicate with you.